Well, Sheila Gregoire goes on again to talk about how
for women to respect. And that God has commanded women to respect their husbands. God never commanded women. What he was saying is, men, if you want your wife to respect you, love her. Like, be a respectable person. Yeah, that's what God was saying.
Egalitarian marriages are so much better than complementarian marriages where the man leads and the woman at least tries to submit. Okay, at least tries to, right? Hey, I know I've hit on Sheila a few times. I got a few videos out there on Sheila, but it's just such nonsense. I just had to do another one on Sheila Gregoire. And even Dalrock wrote a whole bunch about Sheila as well. Yeah, I should probably start covering his articles that he had on her. But anyway, let's get to it here. Sheila talking about how much better the egalitarian marriages do. It says, actually, the title of this video is "People Who Think Husbands Must Make the Final Decision When They Disagree Are Telling on Themselves." I don't even know what that means exactly, but let's give it a listen. We'll see what's up. Now, if you're liking this content, like, subscribe, give me a comment below. I love the comments for this silly nonsense. Here we go.
This week on the podcast, we shared some of our amazing data from The Marriage You Want about how teamwork works best and hierarchy does not.
Okay, so here we go. So they're going to share some data that they have. Their amazing data that they've collected. Now, I've listened to some of their stuff about, oh, we collect this data and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then they bring on this nerdy looking woman that looks like she hasn't seen the sun for about 6 months. And she's like, yes, I'm a data scientist and I know all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And it's just the dumbest thing. Like, the reason I even bring it up is because, like, I personally know a whole bunch of Christian women who thinks that Sheila and her silly daughter here, they're just the best thing. They give the best advice ever. I'm like, police. Oh, yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
It's really incontrovertible. Like, you can't even argue it. It is so incontrovertible that as soon as you think that when husband and wife disagree, the husband gets to make the final decision, as soon as you act that out, if you go into marriage believing that, if you go into marriage believing that he needs respect in a way that she can never understand, bad things happen. But if you
now here's why bad things. So here's what, let's catch that. I'll recap here. She said, if you believe that the husband gets to make the final decision, that he's to lead, then bad things happen. Look at this. This is funny the way I froze this. This girl's like, looks like something out of a cartoon, like out of a VeggieTales cartoon or something, if you remember that. But what is that bad outcome? It has bad outcome. What is it? Well, that the wife's not happy. The wife's not happy. That's the bad outcome. Let's see if they even hint at, is the husband happy? If he gets to lead and make the decisions, is he happy? Who cares? Who's not happy? What's wrong with this marriage? Why is this marriage not happy? Because the wife is not happy. Of course. Here we go.
You go into marriage thinking, hey, we're going to make decisions together, and you do that, really, really good things happen. Yeah, and it's not just...
Yes, if you go into marriage, you think that we're going to make decisions together, really, really good things happen. Yeah, the wife gets her way. Oh, okay, yeah. If we make them together, that means I get to have the say on everything. Okay, all right, I got you. We got you. I got you. All right. Here, let's hear them out, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's hear them out on what they're... I guess they haven't explicitly said it yet. Let's go.
That's about that too. Right? This has been repeated throughout literature for decades now. Mm-hmm. Like, this is officially old hat. This is old news. This is not shocking to anyone outside of the evangelical or conservative religious faith.
This has been repeated in literature for decades. Okay, that, oh, this is how we should do it. Yeah, and what has been happening for decades and decades and decades? Marriages have gotten more and more egalitarian. And what has also happened? The divorce rate has gone up and up and up and up. And somehow these egalitarian marriages are leading people to be so happy and fulfilled. No, they're not. No data says that. Get out of my face with this baloney. Oh my God.
Right, like, it's just a no-brainer. And I find it so interesting that
Yeah, it is a no-brainer. You'd literally have to have no brain to believe what you're just saying. That's
Still have to defend this and argue it. And what pastors will say is, no, you don't understand complementarianism, which is the belief that men are in authority over women, helps women because the husband sacrificially lays down his life, for her to lead her. And it's like, why do you have to be in charge to sacrificially lay down your life? Do you think that?
Yes, man, there it is. Here it is. Now, did you hear it, man? Here we go. Man, now as a complementarian, oh my goodness. Listen, when you were complementarian, you got to lay down your life and you got to be called the leader. Not everybody knew that you weren't the leader. Everybody knew you were kowtowing to every whim of your wife, blah, blah, blah. But at least you got to be called the leader, and then you lay your life down. Sheila's saying, hey, listen, here's a good deal for you men in egalitarian relationship. Here's a good deal. You don't even get to be called the leader, and you get to lay down your life. Oh my God, what a winning deal. Does any man listen to this? I know her simp husband probably just thinks this is the best thing ever, but what on earth? Give me a break. All right, here we go.
That wives don't sacrificially lay down their lives?
Exactly. You're also like,
Sacrificially lay down your life. Do you think that wives don't sacrificially lay down their lives?
exactly. You're also like,
Do I think that wives don't sacrificially lay down their lives for their husbands? Yes. Yes, I do think that wives, by and large, do not sacrificially lay down their lives for their husbands. Okay? I absolutely believe that. Sheila, I don't know what reality you live in, but it must not be on planet Earth. Give me a freaking break. Now, maybe you could say, don't you think wives sacrificially lay down their lives for their kids? Yes, we would agree. We would agree, Sheila. If you made that statement, wives sacrificially lay down their lives for their kids. Yes, I agree with that. Their husbands, no. You would have to be out of your mind to believe that the average wife is sacrificially laying down her life for her husband. Get out of here with that nonsense. Somebody give me a comment below. Any comments about that? Like, what reality are these people living in?
what does laying down your life look like objectively? Because
Good. Okay. What does laying down your life look like objectively that a wife, now they're going to go to the husband, right? But what does it look like for the wife to do that for the husband? If he says, hey, listen, I want dinner on the table at 5:30 at night. You think the woman be like, sure, I'll lovingly do that for you. That's back. What? How dare you demand that of me? We're in an egalitarian marriage. Blah, blah, blah.
we know that the more egalitarian a marriage is, the more likely the husband is to be involved, like
Dad,
cook,
yeah.
housekeeper, like support his wife in her career.
Mhm.
Sounds like the egalitarian.
So the more egalitarian is, the more he is likely to cook and support his wife's career. Okay. And so he is sacrificially laying down his life for her. I guess that's what it means. What does it mean? What was she sacrificially laying down her life for though? I think I missed that part. Anyway, okay.
Egalitarians are the ones laying down their lives in real time.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like the complementarians are the ones saying, well, theoretically, I would. You're not actually do that because that's a pink job.
Yeah, it's like he'll die for you, but he won't do the dishes.
Exactly.
Yes, and that is the type.
Yeah, so he'll die for you, but he won't do the dishes. That seems like a non sequitur, doesn't it? Like, hey, if you're willing to die for me, like if an intruder comes in the house and you're willing to die for me, then you should also be willing to do whatever I want. That, to me, that just seems like a non sequitur. I don't know if I'm seeing the logic in that. Like, yes, I love you, and so I will sacrificially physically lay down my life for you if there's an intruder, and I would be willing to die for you. Yes, okay. And also, you're going to do whatever I want. No, shouldn't it be the other way around? Like, if I'm willing to lay down my life for you physically, like really, like take a bullet for you, take a stabbing for you, then shouldn't you be willing to do the dishes for me? Shouldn't you be willing to make me a sandwich? Shouldn't you be willing to serve me if I'm the one who is literally willing to lay down my life for you if an intruder comes in, if we're on the subway and some dude, like we've seen in countless videos now, some dude is out of control, I'd be willing to step in and take a knife for you. Shouldn't you be willing to do the dishes for me? No, it's all about the woman, isn't it? Not only, here's egalitarian marriage for us, according to Sheila Gregoire. Not only should you be willing to die, but you also should be willing to do whatever your wife wants. Do whatever she wants. Okay.
Maybe next week. I think next week. So if you are not subscribed to my Substack, please do that. Just another.
Yeah, please don't.
I know we've said this before, but social media has really changed in the last month. The algorithms have changed.
And it's only going to keep getting weirder.
And so it's really hard to get my stuff out there. So if you love us, YouTube is doing better for us.
Yeah.
If you love us, please share this video. Please share all of our stuff. We're going to be doing some shorter videos soon on different topics, just so that they can.
Oh, so her stuff's not that popular on YouTube for some reason. Maybe because it's absolute BS baloney nonsense. But we're going to blame it on the algorithm. It has to be some craziness going on with this algorithm. We don't know what's happening here. I can tell you what's happening, Sheila. Your stuff sucks. That's why people are subscribing to it. Now, maybe I should be careful because Sheila's got way more subscribers than I do. Hey, and she can slap me around all she wants for that. I'll own that for sure. I'll own it.
This week, what was really funny is that after that podcast came out on Thursday, I was hit with a deluge of men upset about it. And I actually thought we would get more hate mail after the podcast 2 weeks ago, where we took down love and respect definitively, where we showed how the whole math behind it doesn't work. The survey question doesn't work. It's all based on nothing. But no, it was this week. So we were saying.
Wow. So they took down the book Love and Respect on their they took it down. They brought it down. The oppressive book called Love and Respect, which teaches that women want romantic love from their husbands, and husbands desire respect from their wives. And they took that down and showed that is just complete nonsense. What? You just gotta wonder, like, what kind of echo chamber idiot cave these people live in. Like, what are you talking about? Have you lived life at all? Like, oh my goodness. Actually, I noticed too, on her laptop, she has a sticker on her laptop that says, "They call me Jezebel." I wouldn't listen to any woman who was claiming to be a Christian woman who was proud to be called Jezebel. Did you learn who Jezebel was back in Sunday school and learn what Jezebel did in Sunday school? Why on earth would you have a sticker on your laptop saying, "They call me Jezebel," if you call yourself a Christian?
Hey, complementarianism has bad outcomes that everybody was saying, and it was coming at me. And I had several guys on different platforms with really long messages, really long. They were sure they were taking me down, and they thought this was a mic drop moment.
Yeah.
Okay. They thought this was the definitive argument that I could not argue against. And they said, "But Sheila, what do you do when there's a decision that has to be made and you just don't agree? You obviously need somebody to break the tie."
Yeah.
And that.
Okay, so now that's a good point. They asked Sheila, because this is who makes the final decision when the two people don't agree. And so these complementarian white knights come in and they say, okay, so who makes the decision when that situation happens? Now we're going to notice Sheila does not answer that question. Who makes the decision? Okay. It's a bunch of verbal speaking in circles, as you saw. Let's go here.
That is why God put men in authority so they could break those ties. Like, for instance, what if there's a deadline?
That's actually dead wrong. That is not why God put men in authority, so they could break ties, when 99% of the time they just do whatever their wife wants. And then the 1% of the time when they're just like, no, I really so strongly believe in this that I'm saying, I'm not going to go the way you want to. And so we're going to do what I want to. And then the wife says, "Oh, fine, we'll just do it." Oh, and then she complains about it for 3 months until she moves on to the next thing that she's going to complain about. Anyway, let's go.
decide, and you have to decide what school you're going to sign your children up to, and you can't decide. That's when he has to break those ties. Or what if it's something you just can't agree on, like whether or not to have another child, then he's the one who's got to break that tie. And I will say this, I'm thinking, it's so interesting you think that's a mic drop moment.
It's just so telling how you don't understand how telling that is.
Yeah, because
Did you notice the circular speaking there? It's just so telling how you don't know how telling that is. What on earth does that even mean? This must be woman speak, because I don't think any man would ever understand what that statement just meant. I don't think they will. What are you talking about? Like, oh my goodness. I hope this is entertaining to somebody, because I'm almost getting mad just doing this show here.
the vast majority of people function without a tiebreaker. We've been married for 33 years and we've never needed Keith to break the tie.
Yep, 10 years in July for us.
No, because people.
Okay, now listen. I should write this down. Listen, Sheila's been married 33 years, and her bimbo daughter has been married 10 years. They have never had a decision where somebody needed to break the tie. Okay, meaning they've never had a decision where the husband had to break the tie. What does that tell you? I'll give you one guess what that tells you. That means they are in charge and their simp husbands let them make all the decisions. That is exactly what that tells you with these. These women just hold on themselves. What's going on in their marriage? Oh my goodness.
People figure stuff out. And I've asked this a bunch on social media. Hey, like when you disagree, how do you come to a decision? And people have given all kinds of different strategies they use, and it varies by what it is. But that's what happens in real life. Is there's some give and take, there's some nuance, but to just simply argue.
Okay, so here's the answer. Notice this is the circular, just nonsense speak. Okay, so what do? Even these guys who are very logical, trying to argue with Sheila. Okay, what do you do when this happens? Well, you see, there's just various techniques you can do. Such as, I don't know, maybe it's in Sheila's book. Maybe she doesn't want to give too much away, so you actually buy her book. Such as what? You've got one person that says, I want to do this. You've got another person that says, no, I want to do this. Okay, what are the techniques to help us work through this? Here's the technique. In 33 years and in 10 years, they've never had this situation. Here's the technique. You do whatever your wife wants. That's the technique. That's the one that works.
Sure, we say, no, when you disagree, he makes the decision. You know what that leads to? Shortcuts. Yeah, it leads to short-circuiting communication.
What's ended up happening is that these men who think
short-circuiting communication. Now let's see how they explain that. I'm going to explain that for you. Short-circuiting communication, because if you let him make the decision, that shortcuts communication. Okay, let me see if they explain that, and then I'll explain what that actually means.
Well, you need a tiebreaker. There's no way to do it. The reason they think that's because they have actually atrophied their relational muscles.
Yes.
Right? Because these are all alpha men. Let's talk about.
Okay, so they're shortcutting the relationship and they're atrophying their, what'd she say, relational muscles or so, whatever. Circular nonsense speaking.
In terms, okay?
Yeah.
So you've been working with bad form your whole marriage. You've been lifting wrong. You've been using bad form. So as a result, some muscles are overworked, such as your plow over your wife's opinion muscles. And some muscles are underworked, such as the communicate muscles. And that's genuinely how it is. Our brains and the way that we interact with other people does actually, we learn and adapt and grow the same way that you can learn, adapt, and grow how to use your actual physical body. And if you're saying, no, there's something that is just not possible to do, that the majority of people are claiming, no, it is possible to do, the same way that I say it's impossible for me to do a chin-up.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, like chin-ups are possible. But for me, because I haven't done the work and I've allowed those muscles to atrophy, I can no longer do a chin-up.
I could never do one.
Yeah, I used to be able to do 7 in a row. I'm very proud of that. I'm gonna get back there. But like
yeah, looking at this broad, she ain't ever getting back there. And I would doubt she actually could do a full 7 pull-ups. Doubt that very much just looking at her. But just going forward, she's never getting back.
No, but don't let your relational muscles atrophy because you've been told by a bunch of other relationally lazy people, well, chin-ups are impossible anyway. They're not. There's tons of people who can do them. You've just got to do the work. You've got.
Okay, so here I gotta cut this off, so I can't listen to the nonsense. Here's what they're saying: if a husband makes a decision that short circuits the communication and that causes relational atrophy, what's that mean? That means that the wife doesn't get to argue and just keep on nagging her side and just keep on whittling away at the HUD, just keep on day after day after day. Hey, I can't just come in and make the decision. So we're just going to keep communicating and talking about this. And what does that mean? It means that I'm going to just whittle you down, just wear you down day after day until you finally say, fine, we'll just do whatever you want. That's what the communication means. That's exactly what it means. And if you don't do that, then the wife will say, well, you don't listen to me. You don't love me. And you say, well, why? Well, what do you mean I don't listen to you? What do you mean I don't love you? Well, I told you all my feelings about this for days, and you still said, no, I think this is the best decision to make. You don't care about me. You don't love me. You don't hear me. You don't listen to me. Blah, 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 blah. That's what they're saying in shortcutting the communication. This is what females do. Like, holy cow, this is what females do. Just wear you down, wear you down, wear you down, wear you down until you finally say, okay, fine, whatever. Right? Because you're going to come with logic. You're going to say, well, no, listen, here's the decision, A and B. I have heard your side of it. I understand what you want. Here's my side of it. And due to logic and reason, I believe that the one that I'm presenting is the good one. I think that's probably the best decision to make. They gave 2 examples of, what was it, where the kids are going to go to school and I don't know, something else or whatever. So the man's going to come very logical. Woman's going to come with what? Most of the times, emotion. Well, those don't make me feel good, blah, blah, blah. I feel strongly about this and I have female intuition. And so that's the one we should go with. And so the man's going to go, well, logically, blah, 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 blah. And the woman's going to go, no, I don't care about that. It's just, I know, I just have this feeling this is the right thing to do. And then over 200 days of arguing about that, and then you can go, okay, yeah, I guess we'll just do it, whatever. We'll go.
Stop being lazy.
Yeah. But I felt this whole week as I was talking to these guys, it's like trying to explain the color green to someone who.
Yeah, stop being lazy. Meaning, listen, women, you have to stop being lazy and just wear your husbands down more. If you want your point of view, if you want the decision to go in your favor, stop being lazy and wear those husbands down more. Now, I don't know what wives they're talking to. Where are these wives? I think I've asked that before. Where are these wives that just see their husbands as the leaders and they don't argue with them? They don't throw their opinions at them. They don't try to wear them down when there's a decision to be made. They just say, the husband says, we're doing this. And they just say, oh, okay. And that's it. Where are these wives at in 2025? It's the year 2025. Where are these wives at? I don't know if I've ever met this wife before. I know a lot of people. Pretty sure I've never met this wife. They come up with these fictional characters.
Right? Like you can't do, because it's like they can't even see it. And it's like, wow, do you not realize what this says about you? And that's what I kept coming back to. Do you not realize that what you are admitting is that you do not have a good marriage? You do not have an intimate marriage. You do not even understand what intimacy is. And they don't realize it. And I think about that of all of these. Gaslighting the guys that say, hey, the Bible says the man should lead and the woman should submit to his leadership. Oh, no, you don't understand what a good marriage even is. Gaslighting and shaming the men who want to follow the scripture. Pastors who teach this stuff. Do they not realize what they're admitting about themselves?
Well, also, are they not able to think logically about it? Like, Connor and I have never needed a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Ever. There's also been times where I'm like, can you please just make this decision? That's not the same thing.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, did you catch that? She said, in 10 years, yeah, we've never need somebody to make a tiebreaker. And then there's been times, now she made a contrast and said, and then there's times when I just said, please make this decision. What's that mean? All the other times she was making the decisions. That's what that means. Of course, that's what that means.
There's also been times where I'm like, can you please just make this decision?
Mhm.
That's not the same thing.
No.
Or like there's times where he's like, I'm very honest, I don't care if you do.
Yeah.
Can you make this decision?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, it's not like everything has to be a model UN discussion either. Like again, this stuff is so obvious and so easy when you just care about your spouse and you want to make logical good choices.
Yes.
It's like Connor does not need to check with me before getting plumbing equipment because I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't make me think about plumbing equipment.
Yes.
But at the same time,
Okay, yeah. So her husband doesn't need to ask for her opinions and permission to get plumbing equipment because she doesn't care about that. Okay. So anything that she doesn't care about, then he can go ahead and make those decisions. Okay, well, that's good to know.
like he doesn't get to just like this is so obvious.
Yeah, and that's the thing,
It's
right?
painful.
Like 78.9% of couples make decisions together. In fact, they can't see it as well. So that was one thing that happened this week. The other thing.
So whatever her 70.9% of couples make decisions together. Let me translate that for you. The husband goes along with whatever the wife wants. I'm surprised it's actually not higher than that even. But that's let me translate that for you, okay?
Is in this week's podcast, I played a clip from Cynthia Westfall, who's a professor at McMaster Divinity School, and she's been part of the translation committee for the CEB, the Common English Bible. She does a lot of the work on the Pauline letters. Really, really amazing woman. And she was on 5 years ago to talk about Ephesians 5:33, like conjunction, junction, what's your function? The verb form for wives respect your husbands, it's a subjunctive because it's a he subjunctive clause, which you don't need to understand what that means, okay? But most of the times when it appears in the Bible, it's translated in order that or so that. Like, for God so loved the world, that he gave his only son, so that whosoever believed in him, like that kind of an idea. It's a conditional subjunctive clause. And so she said, when you actually read this in Greek, it says, husbands love your wives in order that wives respect their husbands, which is a very different meaning. It completely contradicts the entire premise of the book Love and Respect.
Yeah, because the entire premise is on.
Okay, so that's good. Here, now I skipped ahead a little bit there, but here's the point she's making. Ephesians 5:33. She's found some liberal, feminist, crazed, wacko Greek New Testament scholar that says the translation of Ephesians 5:33 means husbands love your wives and wives respect their husbands. It doesn't actually mean that. It means husbands love your wives so that the wife will respect the husband. Okay, wow. What a great translation. What a great way to keep men on the hamster wheel of just trying to get respect from their wife. Oh man. Well, listen, the reason why the wife can say, listen, I don't respect my husband is because, well, he's not loving me enough. If he would just love me more, then I would respect him. And I would flip that. Now, I know they came up with some cockamamie Greek translation of Ephesians 5:33. But if we would flip that and say, listen, wives, if you would just respect your husbands more, then they would love you. Really, do we make that an earned thing? The love of the husband? No, we would never say that, ever. Respect is always conditional because that's what the wife is commanded. And so, of course, the Christian feminists, they say, well, of course, respect has to be earned, but love must always be given by the husband. Yes, of course. Okay.
Unconditional respect, unearned respect that you just have because it's God's design for women to respect.
And that God has commanded women to respect their husbands. God never commanded women. What he was saying is, men, if you want your wife to respect you, love her.
Like, be a respectable person.
Yeah, that's what God was saying.
Yeah. Respect that you just have because it's God's design for women to respect.
And that God has commanded women to respect their husbands. God never commanded women. What he was saying is, men.
Okay, so catch that. God never commanded women to respect their husbands. Okay, so yeah, they do call her Jezebel for a reason. This is false teaching, And she is a false teacher. Like, oh my goodness. I think secular people, people that aren't even Christians would say, yeah, I think a wife should respect her husband. Like, you don't have to be a Christian to believe that. Like,
man, if you want your wife to respect you, love her.
Like, be a respectable person.
Yeah, that's what God was saying.
Yeah.
And
yes, man, if your wife doesn't respect you, it's because you don't love her enough. That's why. If you just love her good enough, then she would respect you so much. Just respect you, respect you, respect you. Oh my goodness.
the entire premise of the book, Love and Respect.
Yeah, because the entire premise is on unconditional respect, unearned respect that you just have because it's God's design for women to respect.
And that God has commanded women to respect their husbands. God never commanded women. What he was saying is, men, if you want your wife to respect you, love her.
Like, be a respectable.
So yeah, we'll end it there. But isn't it interesting? They're talking about this book, Love and Respect, and the Christian feminists have to say, now, of course, men have to love their wives, but of course, women aren't commanded to just respect their husbands no matter what. I mean, give me a break. What? That is earned. If you want your wife to respect you, then you must love her well enough so that she does. Okay. All right. Now, let me just refute that right now with our picture of Christ in the church. So if the husband and wife are a picture of Christ in the church, now, if the church does not respect Christ enough to obey him like he commands, to follow him, does that mean that Christ is not loving the church enough? No, it doesn't. That would be heresy to make that comparison. And so Christ, he loves the church unconditionally, and the church is to respect him unconditionally, right? Same with husband and wife. If we want to keep that same picture there in Ephesians 5:33, which they are distorting the scripture when they speak about it, and they will be judged for doing that, just like Jezebel was judged. They're going to call her Jezebel when she sits at the judgment seat. I call her to repent and turn away from leading women astray with, and well, I don't know how many men listen to this nonsense, but there's probably a few men that listen to the nonsense, whoever, need to repent. And we're going to get it turned around. And we are getting it turned around because Christ is winning. He is building his church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it until next time. This is the Post Millennial Man.